Want to know a secret? Promise not to tell? Everyone could see that the prince was charming. The only one for me. We're talking about Snow White adaptations. Join us, won't you? Today we are talking about Snow White adaptations, but I thought I would show you my entire Snow White collection as well. It won't take long. First, I have the Disney classic doll that I got years ago. This is the original Disney Snow White classic doll. So I love her skirt, isn't that pretty? Her beautiful little cape. She has some artwork on the back. So this is from the Disney store. I love her. I collect these. I still have a few that I'm missing, but I collect the classic dolls. Yeah, so I collect those. But I do have Snow White. And if you saw my short, I made a transition tot. So my tot is a tater tot like shaped character that I turn into anything I want, and I chose the evil queen and the old hag with the apple in her hand. Pretty fun. So she's just two heads, and then you put the skirt on depending on which one you want. So last but not least is my shirt. This is my Snow White shirt. This is from the Lauren Conrad collection. They made, I don't know how many years ago, a lot. So it's just a beautiful original Disney print. So that's it. That's my entire collection. I don't have a lot of Snow White stuff. I'm sorry. It's not that I don't love her. I think she's a beautiful princess. I love her. I love her spirit. I love how dainty and feminine she is. I just don't have anything. I do want the two Evil Queen pops. The one where the Evil Queen is mixing the potion from the original 1937 classic. I want that one. And then I would like one from the new movie, at least one version of Evil Queen, because I love Gal Gadot. So I want a Funko Pop of her in that outfit. And oh my gosh, the stained glass crown. People were really hating on the costumes, and yes, Snow White's needs a lot of help. Her costume needs a lot of help. But Evil Queen costume, I mean, no one is calling Atwood, but they were good. So today we're going to talk about other adaptations of the Snow White story. Not necessarily Disney. In fact, I think only a couple are Disney on my list. There are so many adaptations of the Snow White story. So the Snow White story, of course, started with Grimm fairy tales. And basically, in a nutshell, it is a beautiful woman who another woman is extremely jealous of and wants her to be dead so that she can be the most beautiful or the most desired. We'll get to that. We also have our prince, love interest, whatever, who has to wake Snow White from the curse, or, you know, she's gone forever. You also have to have characters that are like dwarves, but they don't have to be dwarves. They just have to be people who Snow White cares for and care for Snow White and help her. You don't have to have the woodland creatures. It is fun when you do. You don't need a huntsman specifically, but you need someone that works for our villain, that was willing to do anything, a henchman, so to speak. And then, of course, my favorite part, the villain. Does not have to be a queen, but kind of has to see themselves as a queen. They have to be vain, jealous. Jealous is the big one. I say that jealousy has to be one of the biggest things that you need for an evil queen character in this Snow White story archetypes. She has to be jealous. She doesn't have to be vain, but it usually goes along with it. But she has to be jealous, and you'll see why jealousy is so important to this in like 1 or 2 seconds when I get to that one. Do we have to have a mirror? No, we don't need to have a mirror. A mirror is not integral to the Snow White story, in my opinion. You know, mirror, mirror on the wall, magic mirror on the wall, any of those. Not super important to the story. Most of them have that, but you don't need that for the story to work. Our evil character just has to know that this person is more desired than she or he. So, there we go. Okay, so we've got our bones. This is what we are basing our adaptations on. An adaptation is not necessarily a remake. It is taking the story bones and turning it into a different story, same bones. So basically it depends on the character archetypes, which we just laid out. So if you have those characters, you can have an adaptation. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's talk about some Snow White adaptations. ABC's Once Upon a Time came out in 2011, went all the way to 2018. We don't talk about the last season. The very end was excellent. So if they could just chop the very end of that story and move it to the end of season 6, that'd be great. But season 7 was a train wreck. We don't talk about season 7, but the rest of the show is great. So we're not going to talk about the entire show because, oh my gosh, we will be here forever. Once Upon a Time is a very complicated show, but we only need the Snow White bones. So, Evil Queen, we got that. Snow White, we got that. Prince Charming, we got that. Magic Mirror, we got that. And Magic Mirror is far more interesting in this adaptation than many others because it was actually a person. Yeah, Magic Mirror was a person who became a mirror, and his story, I love. Excellent writing. We have a huntsman, and we have dwarves. It is not the same story because it has to take place on a television series, and so it has to go for several seasons, but our characters are all the same. The evil queen really is the evil queen, and she has a really good reason to not like Snow White. And one of the reasons that she doesn't like her is that she's beloved. Okay, so that goes back to our jealousy. Okay, she doesn't like that she's beloved. But also, Snow White did something when she was a child and the evil queen was her stepmother. And for a little while, you do side with the evil queen. Snow White messed up. Big time. You do feel for the evil queen. This story is split into 2 realms, so stay with me. You've got the fairy tale realm where everybody's a fairy tale character that we know and love. Then we've got the storybook realm, which is the modern day where all of these fairy tale characters are trapped in this town. They don't know who they are. Only Regina, the evil queen, knows who these people are. And she is the mayor of the town. Instead of being the queen, she is the mayor. And our huntsman is the sheriff. So the sheriff works for the evil queen. Also, he's having an affair with her. That's another story. Anyway, so he works for the evil queen and does anything she says. Snow White is a school teacher named Mary Margaret. Prince Charming is the one in a coma. Yeah, she's gonna have to wake him. Oh, and he's engaged to someone else. The mirror is still there. The dwarves are minors. They have no idea who Snow White is. They barely interact with her at all. In the storybook realm. Storybook realm. In the fairy tale realm, they're the dwarves. Everybody is the same character, they just might have a slightly different story, but you recognize the story. It still works. All of it works out. It's a really great series. I think they do a lot of the characters, most of the characters, justice. I love all the Oz stuff. Yes, they mix Wizard of Oz in there too. I love it. Love, love, love it. Zelina is one of my favorite characters. I was her for Halloween 2 or 3 years. I love Zelina. She's fabulous. She's played by Bex Madar, so, you know, she can do no wrong. This is a really great adaptation of Snow White. I mean, the main characters for this entire story, yes, every fairy tale character you've ever heard of basically is there, but the main character of the entire story is Snow White and Prince Charming's daughter, Emma, who gets sucked into all of this by her son. She didn't know she had a son because everybody's memory was wiped. So Snow White and Prince Charming's daughter have to save them. And it's really cool. So I highly recommend Once Upon a Time. You can find it on Hulu, probably Disney Plus. You can just buy it because it's worth it. Just don't buy season 7. Everything you learned from seasons 1 through 6, forget it. Doesn't apply. It was a mess. Anyway, watch seasons 1 through 6. Enjoy. Anyone out there watch Faerie Tale Theatre? Oh my gosh, I remember being so excited on like Sunday nights when Faerie Tale Theatre would come on TV and I never knew which story it was going to be, and I was so excited. And Shelley Duvall, rest in peace Shelley Duvall, was the narrator for all of these, and she would always like welcome you, kind of like Shirley Temple's storybook theater, you know, when she would welcome you and tell you what the story's going to be and who was in it. And, oh my gosh, so amazing. But if you've never seen the Snow White episode, and I believe you can find all of these on YouTube, I'm almost positive. Faerie Tale Theatre is just like, it's like Masterpiece Theater, but it was just fairy tales. And it's the original stories. It's the Grimm fairy tale story. It's the original French story, the original German story, whatever. So this is the original story of Snow White, not the Disney version, not the, you know, tame version. These are the real stories, and they're done so well. And every single one was filled with stars. It was like Batman. Everybody wanted to be on it. So great. I mean, have you ever seen Jeff Goldblum as the Big Bad Wolf? Peak theater right there. So Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs came out, the episode was season 3, episode 5, came out in 1984, and it starred Vanessa Redgrave as the evil queen, legend, Vincent Price as Magic Mirror. Vincent Price could tell me to do anything. I understand exactly why she listened to him, because he's Vincent Price. Come on. That voice. Okay. Anyway, Rex Smith as the prince. Anyone ever seen Pirates of Penzance? That is how you fall in love with Rex Smith. We need to talk about Gilbert and Sullivan one day. I'm going to put that mental note in my head. We're going to do that. But anyway, Rex Smith is the prince, and Snow White is played by Elizabeth McGovern. Yes, that's right. Downton Abbey, that Elizabeth McGovern. She's beautiful. Oh, she's so beautiful. Of course, she's the fairest of them all. It's lovely. I love it. So I highly recommend. It's the same story, you know. All of these were still made for children, but of course, remember, children's television in the 80s was a little darker than it is today. But I don't think there's anything too scary. That one is just a remake, honestly. That is just taking the book and making it into theater. Excellent. So, Faerie Tale Theatre. Honestly, go watch all of them. Sydney White. There are a lot of people who hate this movie. I don't get it. I think it's cute. I love it. It's quirky. It's totally a 2000s movie. It came out in 2007, and you can tell, but it's great. It stars Amanda Bynes, Sarah Paxton, and I'm forgetting who the guy is right now. Our prince. Anyway, it's really corny in the best way. So this is a college story. Sydney is our college tomboy, and she has nowhere to live. She can't live at the sorority house with the queen, Sarah Paxton, the queen on campus. And so she has to find somewhere to live. So she has to live with the only dorm available is the Den of Geeks. And they're all stereotypical, okay? This movie is filled with stereotypes, but it's just done in the best way. Like the poison apple is a computer virus because her computer's an apple. Ha ha ha. I love it. And all kinds of jokes like that. The Magic Mirror is a computer website that's rating students' popularity on campus, and Sarah Paxton's character is no longer number one. She has a problem with that. So, yeah. Plus the guy she really wants to date, like Sydney, it's so cute. It's so fun. It's so wholesome. I love it. Sydney White. Okay? Go watch it. Briefly, I want to mention Enchanted. I know technically it is not Snow White. It is every Disney princess they can think of crammed into one princess. I get that. But the reason that Giselle ends up in the real world to begin with is because the queen thinks that she's going to steal her crown, so she dresses up as an old hag and pushes her in a well. And then, when she finds out that the prince is going to find her, she has to stop that. She goes to the real world dressed as the old hag and finds Giselle, offers her a poisoned apple. Giselle falls into a dreamlike death and has to get kissed by her true love. Sounds like Snow White to me. And her magic mirror is actually a really cool waterfall, which that was a fun idea. That's a great idea, Disney. More ideas like that, please. It was just fabulous. Her huntsman is Nathaniel. He just goes along with the prince to make sure that the prince can't find her. There are no dwarves, but there are woodland creatures. Well, creatures. Pigeons and bugs and rats. But they're very helpful. And she makes sure they clean before they clean other things. I mean, technically, it's Snow White. It's just got a lot of other stuff mixed in there, but the bones are Snow White. So if you've never seen Enchanted, it's fabulous. And on that note, mirror, mirror. Disney, you made this movie, but you forget that you made it. Because this movie is so good. I never knew that I wanted Julia Roberts to be a villain until I saw this movie. She is such a fabulous evil queen. And it's really interesting because the evil queen is the narrator. Yeah, that's a twist. She says it's her story. It's not. But she thinks of it that way. And the way they created the room with the magic mirror, which, by the way, the magic mirror is herself, which, that's cool. That's a lot of metaphors right there. Love that. And this came before the Snow White and the Huntsman, Snow White and the Winter War, those movies where they had a really cool mirror room and stuff like that with that too. So, I mean, they did the same kind of like goo transition, but this one was done with more finesse, I guess. Like, Huntsman is more creepy, and this one was done with more style, in my opinion. But the costumes for both are phenomenal. I love Julia Roberts, though. She's so funny. Armie Hammer gets to play a ridiculously weird prince, and I'm here for it. I love it. It's such a weird take. I love it. And, oh my gosh, Nathan Lane. Nathan Lane as the Queen's henchman is just peak cinema. Mirror Mirror is funny, okay? And Lily Collins is such a beautiful Snow White, both physically and then her inner beauty, of course, shines in the movie. You want that mixture of princess delicacy with girl bossery or whatever. Not a word, but it's fine. This is it. This is your mix right here. She balances both perfectly. And I love it. And then, of course, the dwarves are hilarious. Love them. Real people, by the way. And so great. Phenomenal actors. You probably know most of them. They're so good. And I can't not talk about this film and not talk about the costumes. The costumes for this movie are incredible. Costume designer is her. They're incredible. And yes, they're completely over the top and outlandish, and nobody needs to wear pieces like this, except a few of Snow White's outfits I would totally wear. But the Queen's outfits, and she has so many costume changes. I know that Julia Roberts had to love the fact that she got to wear so many clothes. But everybody has a bunch of costume changes in this movie. Even the dwarves have costume changes. This is a really colorful movie. This is one of the things, like fairy tales, they seem to go a certain way. They go either kind of plain and dull, or they go dark and everything has to look kind of gothic or maybe even sci-fi. Or they go into this realm of Uncanny Valley, which is a little off-putting. But very few of them go into the other two realms, which is the ones I prefer. One is pretty and delicate, and if you're having a princess movie, there should be a lot of light and pastels and that kind of thing. Or you can go the other direction, which is color. Bold color in your face, completely looks unrealistic, but it's a fairy tale, so who cares? Once you put magic in something, reality goes out the window. So just embrace it. If you're going to do especially a Disney movie, Disney has kind of gone towards the dark realm lately, and it's like, come back. We like color. We like fun. Bring fun back. This movie is color. It is in your face color from the very beginning. Yes, there are dark parts, but when they're dark, you can tell that this is dark, this is off-putting because I'm supposed to be scared, or I'm supposed to be nervous about what's going on. This is obviously evil. But the light parts should be light, not the whole thing should be dark and creepy. Snow White and the Huntsman, Winter War, those movies are great, and they take a gothic turn and they make everything kind of dark and depressing, but it works in that world. If you did that in this world, especially in Disney, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. We want the bright, fun, colorful, crazy costumes. We want the amazing sets. We want the makeup to be outlandish because it's a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale. It's made for kids and adults. It's just fun. It's just a fun movie. Okay, this title's gonna sound weird, but bear with me. Smoky Mountain Christmas. Yes, it's a Christmas movie. Technically, it is. It stars Dolly Parton. This is a TV movie made in 1986. It stars Dolly Parton, Lee Majors, Anita Morris, Bo Hopkins, and many, many more. A country singer kind of gets lost in this little town and ends up having to care for kids, orphans. They're not dwarves. They're orphans. They're kids. Actual kids. And she runs into Lee Majors, who is like our prince character. I had such a crush on Lee Majors like my whole life. I still do. He still looks great. I love Lee Majors. He's just wonderful. I loved watching The Fall Guy. Just such a great show. Anyway, Lee Majors is our prince. Dolly Parton is our princess. She's our Snow White. And Lee Majors has a girlfriend who is our queen, our evil queen. That is Anita Morris. She is fabulous. If you've never seen Radioland Murders, why not? I made an entire video about it. Didn't I convince you yet? Watch Radioland Murders. Anyway, she is the va-va-va-voom girl with the va-va-va-voom voice. If you saw Radioland Murders, you'd get that. She is Jezebel. Perfect name, right? Jezebel, our evil queen character. She is a witch. Let's just throw that in there. Orphans, country western singer, small town, and a witch. Sure. Like, legitimately, she does spells in the woods. It's a TV movie, people, you know. And her old hag is actually a cute little old lady. I don't know who plays the little old lady, but I love her. Which is sad because like you're not supposed to love the little, you know, the hag, the little old lady. You're not supposed to love her, but she's adorable. I love her. And she makes an apple pie instead of an apple. And her right-hand man is the sheriff, played by Bo Hopkins, and he is a terrible human being. Oh my gosh. The character, not Bo. Sorry, Bo. No, the character. This guy's a piece of work. And he's the sheriff. So that's great. He can just throw people in jail. It's just, yeah. So, but he will do whatever Jezebel says because he thinks Jezebel is gorgeous. So, and she is. But yeah, it's the Snow White story. And it's really cute though because Snow White is protecting the kids and the kids are protecting Snow White. Like they want her to be their mom. It's so precious. I love it so much. They take her in, you know, she finds their little cabin and falls asleep and it's empty and the kids show up like there's someone in our house, almost like, you know, there's someone sleeping in my bed, which is Goldilocks, which is another fairy tale. But it's so cute. And I don't care if it's a tacky 80s TV movie that clearly didn't have a big budget. It's precious. And Dolly Parton sings. Of course she does. And Lee Majors is your prince. Duh. And Anita Morris is a fabulous evil character. So just, yes. All around, yes. Last but not least, I'm saving this one because this might be my favorite. It might be my favorite. Red Shoes and the Seven Dwarfs. Hold it! I know there is a lot of controversy on this movie about how it does not promote positive body image, and I would strongly disagree. Our Snow White is not a stick. Oh, I know she is on the poster. No, the real Snow White in this story is a regular girl. And she is a princess. But I mean, her body type, she's just a regular girl. She is not model skinny. She is not plus size. I don't really appreciate that they call her plus size. She's not plus size. She's average. She's just regular. She's normal. She looks like a normal girl. She looks like a normal, healthy girl. And she's beautiful. And if I crocheted a doll, that's the one I would crochet. She is beautiful. Okay? I love her. And this movie is about looks aren't everything. How is that negative? Anyway, a lot of people have problems with this movie. If you have a problem with it, fine. This movie is great. And the henchmen are little bears made of wood. They are so cute. Yeah. We got an evil queen and she's fine. Honestly, the acting could be better. It's a cartoon, but the acting could still be better. But who cares about the evil queen? She's not even in that many scenes. The bears, the little wooden bears are her henchmen. And they're voiced by actual children. You can tell their voices are so cute. So cute. The dwarves they're not dwarves. That's all I'm going to say. They're not dwarves. That's maybe the title, but they're not dwarves. So, yeah. How they got to be dwarves, watch the movie and find out. But anyway, in this story, it is the Snow White story, and it isn't. So we do have an evil queen. She did marry Snow White's father, who was the king. The king goes missing for years, and now this queen is in charge. So that's part of the story. Where's the dad? We don't know. And we don't know for a very long time. She's on the journey to find her dad because she believes he's not dead. And so the queen is in charge. And the queen has this tree. It's a strange tree. It grows in the middle of a room, which Snow White isn't allowed in. But she sneaks in there one night. And she watches this tree grow. And these two shoes appear. Two little red shoes, hence the title. And she decides to put them on. They make her look like a completely different person. Not only that, people start treating her differently. Interesting. And then she meets the dwarves, which are not dwarves, and it's a whole thing. Anyway, that part of the storyline gets a little confusing, but still enough that kids can follow it. It's totally a kid's movie. Totally a kid's movie. It's totally safe. There's 2 or 3 scary images because in this movie, the evil queen, whatever. The true villain is the mirror. 100%. True villain of this film is the mirror. Voiced by, I believe, Patrick Warburton. I'm like 99%. I'm going to put it down here. But I'm pretty sure it's Patrick Warburton. You know, Kronk from Emperor's New Groove. He's the mirror. And the mirror is evil. Queen may be evil, okay? 100%. But I think the mirror might have corrupted her. Because that mirror is evil. And that's the only part that might scare kids. Maybe. But this movie's only PG. You know? It's only PG. And I don't know what company made it. I think it's great. I think it's cute. I think it's fun. I love it. I think it's one of the best adaptations out there. I think it's totally a positive and beautiful message. I am not spoiling the ending for you, but it's not what you expect. It is not what you expect. And I love it. I'm here for it. I think it's a great story. Those are all of my favorite Snow White adaptations, although I have, during this research and stuff to find dates and casts and stuff like that, I was going through the different adaptations, and there's several I haven't seen. There was a movie in the 80s where Diana Rigg was the evil queen. Never seen that. Would love to. I love Diana Rigg. I can picture that. I can 100% picture her as the evil queen. And then other adaptations that I've never heard of. So I may go and find some of those to watch. Just a quick reminder, I am live with friends tomorrow, the 29th of March at 9 p.m. Eastern. Please join us. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have 2 questions for you. 1, what is your favorite adaptation of Snow White? And of course, if you're just a huge fan of the 1937, I get it. It's a great film. If you liked the new one, that's great too. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know when I'm going to see it. Probably not in theaters. I was never really excited for this movie to begin with. I just didn't really have like a big hype over it, even though I love Gal Gadot and I think Rachel Zegler is a fantastic actress and boy can she sing. But there's nothing in this movie that like excites me in the trailers, so you know. I have, however, been listening to the soundtrack, and if you want to hear a video all about what I think about the songs from the movie, let me know, because I have thoughts. The other question I have for you is, would you like more videos like this? Adaptations of different stories, because I can do that. We can do Cinderella, we could do Sleeping Beauty. It doesn't have to be princess films. We could do adaptations of Robin Hood. I've seen a lot of things. I watch a lot of movies and TV because I'm stuck in my house. So let me know. And if you have any adaptations of anything you would like to recommend, leave them in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, life happens, yarn helps, and spoonies can stitch up too. Goodbye.